Yeah, overall, I think our performance as a unit was encouraging. I knew Coach Sweeney challenged us to be physical up front. That was the name of the game for us. That was the number one objective that we wanted to have. After reviewing the film, I think we did that. But with that being said, there's definitely some mistakes that were made as well. It's not just about being, the most physical unit. It's about being physical with technique, having effort with technique and stuff like that, being aware of the situations that we're in. So overall, I was encouraged. I was pleased. But just like anything else, there's definitely some plays that I think as a unit we wish we could get back. And obviously, as a team in offense, we wish we could have back.
Safe to say that most proud of some of the run game stuff and maybe some of the correctable things with pass protection issues.
Yeah, I would say so. And then also, there was even some things in the run game where maybe communication broke down and so on. But I think when we're looking with the main objective being a physical offensive line, I think naturally the first thing you look at is being able to run the ball. And we were able to do that. I don't know necessarily all the stats, but I know between Shipley and Maffa, they both average the ball over 5 yards a carry, and that's something where if we can do that as an offensive line, we take a lot of pride in. But yeah, in pass protection, there are definitely some issues. So definitely need to fix those.
What are the emotions like right now between disappointment, anger, any of those sort of things? How have you seen just already in a day back in the building, everybody kind of rebound and move forward in that?
Yeah, also I think just kind of how the schedule is a little bit different than normal. Normally we play on a Saturday, and usually we get Sunday off, and then Monday we call Mental Monday. So this week was a little bit different. Like yesterday we had like our Mental Monday practice, when normally that's usually Sunday, and usually Sunday for us is a day of reflection. So today would kind of be our normal Mental Monday, but since we played a game later than normal, it's a little bit different. So with our loss, which was nothing short of disappointing, definitely. We got to bounce back, right? We play on Saturday, which is today's Wednesday, so we're getting closer to it. So yeah, it's definitely a mix of kind of reflecting on what we did wrong, and also some of the things that we did well, because we did do some things well. But then also looking forward to Charleston Southern, right? We get an opportunity to play again on Saturday, and we can't go back and we can't change what happened Monday. All we can do is look forward and try to improve on maybe the things that we didn't do well, and also improve on the things we did do well. So I think right now, as of today, we reflected yesterday, and obviously right after the game. But right now for our team, I think it's important to move on and look forward to improving and performing well on Saturday. Because I think what our team needs the most right now is just a good performance. We don't have to play some miracle impossible performance. We just have to play good football. And I think if we just play good football with the guys we have on our team right now, I think we'll be all right. So I think right now our main focus right now is just playing good football.
What's the hardest part of a game like Monday night?
Yeah, I think the hardest part is, kind of like what you said. It's disappointing. It's disappointing losing really any game. I think is here at Clemson we have high expectations. Expectations set by us on the team and just people outside the program as well, and I think that's very fitting from the past success that we've had, but with that it's also definitely responsibility. So yeah, it can be a little bit different, but I think just kind of keep moving forward is really important.
Coach Sweeney said that was the weirdest game he's ever been involved in. For you guys on the field, what was it like when you drive and don't get points?
Yeah, it's definitely something that's disappointing. It can definitely hurt kind of momentum a little bit because we put together a really, really good drive, and then mistakes happen, and then leads to something else. And it's kind of hard to gauge as well because obviously no one wants to mess up, no one wants to make a mistake, no one wants to fumble the ball or miss a block or miss a throw or miss a catch and so on, right? So those things can definitely be frustrating, even when you're on the field. But I think kind of having that next play mentality is really important. And I think even from like having more of like a leadership perspective, I think that's even more critical. Is always having that next play mentality. As teammates on the field, I think it's important to not necessarily criticize your teammates when the game's going on. Criticisms can be made, post game, watching the film, and coaches make those criticisms in games. But I think as a teammate, it's really good to try to pick your guys up and keep going, because at the end of the day, when you're playing a game, you got to play the next series. You got to play the next down, the next play, and I think it's really important to have that mentality.
I guess you guys have watched a lot of film together in terms of having the South Carolina games, those more disappointing games of late. What was it like watching that film compared to some of those others? Was it even more frustrating just because of how close you were to?
Yeah, I mean, it's just frustrating. I mean, I think all losses are the same in my eyes. I mean, we always want to win. It's tough. It's tough losing the opener. You have a really long off season, but I mean, that's just the game of football. The winner doesn't go to who worked the hardest or who was most intense during the off season. The winner comes to who performed on the field the most. We worked hard. I think I thought we had a great offseason. And even with our first loss, I don't really think anything changed that. And I'm sure Duke had a really great offseason as well. But it comes down to performance. And, the stats, whether they're good or bad, they don't really matter either. There's only one stat that really, truly matters, and that's winning, losing, what's the score, who scored more points, who allowed the opponent to not score as many points. And I think it's just important to keep the main thing the main thing.
So is the objective now for this offense to be just more settled when the lights are on, so it can carry what you guys saw and felt during August into the actual games?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely important, and I think that's something that needs to be the focal point throughout the rest of the season. And just when you play, football is definitely it's a game of emotion, but it's not a game where you want to play emotional. I think it's definitely important to kind of have those emotions, but also be able to be relatively neutral, and especially if you're a guy that has decision-making responsibilities, whether that's me at the offensive line at center, quarterback, guys on defense, and so on. It's definitely you need to play because you need to love the game. You need to do well, but it's not something where you want to play emotional, because then you kind of get outside of your frame. You get outside of your mind space. You allow outside things to affect how you think, how you play, and that's definitely something that you don't want to do. That's definitely easier said than done. Playing college football at this level, playing at Clemson, but I think that's something that's really important. We need to play within ourselves and really just not try to do too much. Play within the system, trusting our coaches, trusting their game plan, and that's our responsibility as players.
How did you see Cade handle some of those emotions and frustrations during the game? How to kind of navigate that throughout?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he handled it well. I thought he handled it well. And also too, I mean, this is his second start, right? So I think also, we will see. We will see. I think, again, kind of like what I was saying earlier, I think just performing well this Saturday is critical, and I think it's regardless of the opponent, whether that's whoever. I'm really excited to see him bounce back. I know he's hard on himself too. I think quarterback's one of those positions where sometimes they might get more praise than they should, but I think sometimes they get more criticism than they should as well. But I mean, I know he works hard. I know he's hard on himself. I know he's watched the film. So I'm excited to see him bounce back too.
What do you like about the two-back stuff? That's sort of some of the diversity it gives you, not just in the run game, but also play action.
Personally, I love it. I love it personally. Between Shipley, Maffa, I mean, those are some of our two best playmakers. I think whenever we can get them on the field together is definitely a great thing. As an offensive lineman, I mean, obviously I'm a little bit partial. I love running the football. That's what I like to do, and having both those guys back there, I think, is great. I think that's something where defenses, it's a little bit harder for them to get a read, because they're both threats. They're both, I mean, either one, when the ball's in either of their hands, something can definitely happen. So I mean, I really like it. But then again, I'm not a coach. Coaches coach, players play, and I'm not necessarily during the game seeing the big picture. I'm only seeing it from my point of view. But yeah, I mean, I like it a lot. I love it.
You guys ever talk about this offense, hoping to build some confidence through camp, and obviously have a game like that. I mean, do you feel like this is still a confident unit, or do you need to rebuild that a little bit?
I know. I definitely think it's a confident unit. I think it's kind of like Coach Swinger talked, like that windshield mentality. There's no hope for better yesterdays. which I think is really, really true. I think we have a mature team. I mean, it's not like this is the first loss that I've ever had or this team's ever had. So I think guys know how to bounce back. I think guys are ready to step back up. So yeah, no, I don't think there's any sort of lost confidence at all. We still have the rest of our season to play. We have a great schedule. We can definitely still come back and prove ourselves, have a great year. I think everything's still on the table besides going 15-0 and going undefeated. We can't do that. We can't win the opener anymore. We lost the opener. All credit to Duke. They beat us fair and square. There's no way going around it. But we still have many of our goals still on the table. We'll still play many great opponents, and I still think we can prove that we're still one of the best teams in the country. And I think guys do have that confidence. I definitely believe it, and I know other guys do as well. And I think some of that confidence can, I guess, get back through how we practice this week, how we perform on Saturday, and getting back on the right track.
I guess there's still a pathway to the playoff, but is the pressure on that you can't afford another slip up probably?
I mean, a little. I mean, yeah. I mean, we lost our first game. There's definitely less room for error. Definitely. Yeah, we can't afford to go and lose a bunch of other games if that's the goal we're trying to do. But I think really right now our biggest focus, and this is what I would encourage my teammates, is just that next game mentality. I know Coach probably says that a lot, but it's really the truth. It's really the truth. In especially situations like this, you can't look too far ahead, and you can't look behind either. You just got to worry about playing the next game, and I think that's important, and that's how you build momentum within a football team. It's just worrying about, okay, let's have a good game here, and then we have a good game Saturday. Let's have a good next game, and so on. And then you slowly build momentum, and I think that's how you truly build confidence, is by consistently performing well. And as that goes as a unit, that goes as an offense, as a team, and individuals as well. So I think that's what we need to do.
I guess Tristan Lee, how do you feel like he performed when you watched the film as an offensive line?
Yeah, Tristan. I thought overall he did well. I think there's a couple mistakes that I'm sure he'd want back. But I throw him in the same boat as Cade. Those are both guys who really care. They give great effort. And I know they're hard on themselves as well. I mean, that was his first start ever too. I think that's the most significant playing time he's ever had. Against a good Duke football team. I mean, their D line, I know was very touted. They're supposed to be really good, and they were really good. And their DNs were really, really good. And I think those first games are always kind of difficult too, because you don't really know what the personnel is necessarily going to be like. Obviously, guys aren't the same, back in November, December as they are right now. But I think same thing goes for him. I'm looking for him to have a dominant performance on Saturday. I think he's very capable of that, and I think he knows that too. And I think by doing that, he'll kind of build the momentum and confidence truly for himself as we climb this mountain.
Any questions for Put from Zoom?